And this to provide a statistic or a trend about Microsoft Teams rooms or hybrid work and translate that data for you into useful information that you can use to start conversations with your customers. Microsoft has done the research for you so that you don't have to. Let's dive in. There is a stark disconnect between the portion of leaders that say they have full confidence that their team is being productive, 12%, and the portion of employees who report that they are productive at work, whether they're working in the office or at home. 87%. That is a big, stark difference and a huge gap. People are working more than ever, and leaders already worried by signals of a macroeconomic decline are questioning if their employees are being productive. The majority of employees, 87%, report that they are productive at work. And productivity signals across Microsoft 365 continue to climb. This spring, we found that the number of meetings per week had increased by 153% globally for the average Microsoft Teams user since the start of the pandemic. And there is no indication that this trend has reversed, suggesting that what was once a peak is now the new baseline. But one thing is still clear. Thriving employees are what will give organizations a competitive advantage in today's dynamic economic environment. That's a quote from Satya Nadella, chairman and CEO of Microsoft. On top of an already high meeting load, overlapping meetings, being double booked sometimes, that has increased by 46% per person in the past year. Users are being flooded with meeting invites, even as the overall meeting acceptance rate has remained fairly steady, growing by only 3%. Declines in tentative RSVPs have soared within the past 2 years, 85 and 216% growth, respectively. The strain is clear. In an average week, 42% of participants multitask during meetings by actively sending email or pings, and that doesn't include practices like reading incoming emails, incoming chats, and working in non-meeting files or web activity. So how do we address this gap? 48% of employees and 53% of managers report that they're already burned out at work. You may be able to relate. So prioritization must go beyond simply reordering an overflowing to-do list. Leaders need to create clarity and purpose for their people, aligning work with the company mission and team goals. And defining what work doesn't matter is just as important as defining what does. In a world where everything is important, nothing is, right? We've reached a point of diminishing returns due to overwork and overwhelm. If leaders don't intervene, they put productivity in jeopardy. Closing the feedback loop is key to retaining talent. Employees who feel their companies use employee feedback to drive change are more satisfied compared to those who believe their companies don't drive change. And the employees who don't think their companies drive change based on feedback, they're more than twice as likely to consider leaving in the next year compared to those who do. Microsoft recommends setting goals like OKRs to ensure that employee work aligns with company goals and establish, this I love, no KRs, or what employees should not do in order to get the most critical work done. Create and reinforce a culture that rewards employees' impact, not just their activity. And collect employee feedback at regular intervals, organizational, departmental, and team levels to keep a pulse on your people and empower managers and leaders to actively listen, coach, and make better decisions to improve the overall performance and well-being of their teams. Hopefully, this helps gives you some new and interesting information to share with your customers around how we are recommending pivots towards hybrid work and measuring success in hybrid work. And stay tuned for the second edition of From Stats to Chats. Thanks for joining.